Hey, good morning, Robert. This is a demo video for you for your KR Sabers Baylan Skoll. This is installed with the Proffie V3 that you provided me, and then I came up with a chassis for you. You also gave me a 31mm speaker, so that is here on the pommel. This is probably only like the third of one of these that I've ever installed. It does make it a loud boy, so we'll go over that here in a second. A one button setup, so that red switch here, that's going to be where everything happens. All right, you got a blade plug in there for now. I just wanted to show you how to take that out. It can be a little bit confusing because you'll find a grub screw up here, which is where we would typically find our blade retention screw, but that is not what that is. This grub screw right here actually holds this piece in place and clocks it in. So you have two blade retention screws. You've got one here and you've got one here. All right, so you'll just want to back those out a little bit, and then when you do, you can pull your blade plug right out. So this is a fairly long plug. I made sure that, it was still able to fit in there with no problem. So that's what you've got right there. To get to your chassis, what you want to do is just grab your handle and untwist it. All right, pretty typical of a saber. This is a big boy. I know it is screen accurate, but one of the bigger sabers. So it's very cool though. But when you take this out, before we go over the chassis and stuff, if I open this up right here, something that you'll never have to do, I'm just going to do it one time and show you, but you'll find this speaker pod in here. This, of course, does not come out. It has your stock rotary PCB right there. So we'll just screw this back on, and located in the steel part here, which I'm assuming is steel because this is pretty heavy, is your 31mm speaker. All right, so whenever you take this off, though, I'm tightening this down tight. This can stay as one unit. All right. This is your chassis. So looking at it from out here, you've got a removable battery setup, spring side over here. This is your stock pogo pin for your speaker that makes connection with that speaker pod. You've got your Proffie V3 up here. For now, I have a Kyberphonic Sun Skoll font on here to show it off on the demo. If that's something that you like, let me know. If you can purchase that from Jesse. If you have it already, just let me know you have it already. Or if you haven't, you can go purchase that from him, and I'll leave it on here for you. All right, so you've got your Proffie V3 right there. You've got access to your SD card and your micro USB. So you do not have to lift up the board. It is possible, though, this is a very tight snap fit. So it's not adhesed down, but it's not going anywhere. All right, and then over here you have a kill switch. To get to the upper portion of your saber, what you want to do is grab the chassis and you want to turn it counterclockwise. Turn it counterclockwise until you hear that little click, and then you can just pull it right out. All right, so you and I had spoken about this before I ever got the saber. But if you look in there, and you can see them right there, there's two screws inside of the hilt. All right, you've got, which is basically that black screw right there, and then 180 degrees from that, you've got this one right here. So that's what I used for chassis retention. You'll notice on the chassis, I've got two L-lock channels, one over here and one over here. And I made sure that when you twisted it in, and it clicked in place, it was twisting clockwise and locking in. That way, when you screw the handle on, it doesn't loosen the chassis. All right, so we'll take that out. You had asked for a little bit of a crystal chamber here, but no accents in the chassis because you'll be using this at cons. So the crystal chamber was basically your way of knowing that the battery was turned on or the kill switch was in the on position. All right, so I gave you a real quartz crystal up here. There's a little brass piece up on top of your crystal. That piece is left over from, I think, an old subversion that I did. I have a lot of extra subversion crystal chamber parts for whatever reason. But that was one of the brass pieces that I thought looked pretty good up there. All right, so you're a little bit limited on what you can do when it comes to 3D printing crystal chambers and making them look good. So I went with a simplistic design, a real quartz crystal. That crystal is in its own holder, and then I just have this little greebly in front of it. All right, and then this brass piece in here. Your one switch setup is right here. It's that little tactile switch. And then you've got a Carl Chan V4 Neopixel connector. So the reason why you have a smaller diameter right here next to your switches than the rest of the Saber is because I needed to make room for the actual plunger switch. When this chassis slid in and you turned it to lock it into place and rest right above that, I didn't want it hitting the chassis, if that makes sense. All right, so let's throw a battery in this guy. 18650. All right, come over here. Pop that battery in. Don't see anything, right? We'll come over here and we'll flip our kill switch. Now you can see you've got a slow pulse on your crystal. This is an orange-red color. Slow pulsing, it will go solid when we turn the Saber on. Of course, you won't, well, we can turn it on from here. It's just a slight flicker. The reason it has a slight flicker is because I have it mimicking the blade, and I gave you an orange-red blade, but I used the rotoscope blade style from Fett's new library because I just think it's really cool. So it does have a little bit of a flicker. All right, but when you've got this on and you see your indicator in the crystal, line up these two grooves in your chassis with the screws that are in your crystal, or the screws that are in your hilt, rather, sorry. You'll feel it right away. Like, that's wrong, but if you're feeling that, just twist it slightly. Those screws will go right into place. And then twist it clockwise to lock it in. It goes in like butter. All right, so when you get that done, you can come over here and you can put your handle on. When you lock your handle all the way down, now we've got this the speaker engaged. We can hit power. That 31mm speaker gives this Saber some beef, all right? Let's throw a blade in here. It is programmed for a full-length blade, but this is, of course, my test blade. All right, so we'll just use one of these to lock it down. You can, of course, use them both, and then come over here and hit power. So you got that slight flicker rotoscope blade with an orange. It probably won't pick up very well on camera, but that is an orange-red to match the character font. All right. If you wanted to change sound fonts, you would do a long press on the button. It just has the one font on here for now, so you'll hear the boot up for this font. Baylan Skoll. Just like that, all right? If you want to play your soundtrack like that effect, you do a triple click on the button, all right? And then just do a quick press to turn on. So we'll go ahead and take the blade out. We're going to put the blade plug back in. I want to see if it has some shine through, which is something that I didn't check before I made this video. All right, I'm just curious to see. And then also I want to put it back in so I don't forget to send it back to you, which I've done in the past with people's blade plug, and it sucks. So, but you do have some shine through in there, which is super cool. All right. Of course, when we're done, we'll come over here and take our handle back off. Remember, turn clockwise, pull it out. And as you can see, you've got your crystal pulsing there until we come over here and we flip the switch, and it kills power. All right, your battery should be easy enough to take out with your finger when you don't want it in there anymore. But that is basically your Baylan Skoll with Proffie V3. Let me know if you have any questions. Let me know if you want me to keep that font on there from Jesse over at Kyberphonic. I think it goes really well with the saber. And I will try my best to get this out in the mail to you today, actually. All right. Thanks, Robert.